going 1-6 with Naya decks was enough standard beating for me for one day. So we're gonna go ahead and close out the stream with a couple matches of Hex. I can only stream for like another hour or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out with some of this. If you were just here for the Magic, thanks for hanging out. I will be back tomorrow, late afternoon, early evening. We're gonna be playing some more standard then. I would appreciate it if you'd show back up. Welcome to all the new followers. Thank you to the resubs. If you haven't checked out Hex before, I'd encourage you to stay and check it out. You can learn that here. We're going to play a couple matches here. I've got a 2-color, it's basically like base 1-color splash a small second aggressive deck. Wait here to queue a matchup. Thanks, Cody. How's it going, Speed? Why you take so long to queue, Hex? I fixed the Naya deck list I have linked on their stream. No, probably not. I'm probably just going to delete that, actually. Yeah, I'm just going to delete it. You can find the deck list we played second on mtggoldfish.com, but it does not seem particularly great. I have not written it yet. It will, it'll likely go up on hextcg.com next week, I think. How to enable BTTV in the new Twitch. I don't know what any of that means. There's a new Twitch? Alright, got us a match. You want to sit in Dad's lap while you watch this? Okay, want a coin flip? So, one of the things in Hex that's different is you see my opponent and I, we both have different starting life totals. Those are determined by the champion that you pick to play with your deck. We also have different activated abilities that our champions have that you get to use based on the number of resources that you play. So every time you use a resource, you gain a charge towards your activated ability. Mine requires 4 charges. My opponent's requires 2, so they're all slightly different depending on what you have. These are shards that give us resources, so this can give me a red or a green shard, and this is just a single color that's just green. This card costs 2 and requires me to have 1 red or ruby threshold. This card also costs 2 but requires me to have double ruby threshold. So this hand might be a little bit of a greedy keep. We've got 2 cards that we can cast here. We've got this Voice of the Ashwood that we can play on 2, and we've got a Burn that I can play on 1 in case my opponent has a 1-drop. But these other 3 cards are all going to require me to draw ruby shards in order to be good. I think this hand is keepable. There's a lot. This deck is base ruby with just a small wild or green splash. Yeah, there are a couple other cards that say you gain a charge here and there. And actually, I'm playing a couple in here. There's one called Crackling Bolt that does 3 damage to something and you gain a charge. So when I play this Feral Acorn out, I choose between whether or not I want to gain 3 life or gain one of my thresholds. I need ruby threshold, so I'm going to choose that. So I've now got 1 resource with one ruby threshold here. Burn is a quick action, so I can play this on my opponent's turn. It does 2 damage to something. Opponent doesn't have a 1-drop. Let's go ahead and go back to our turn. Ruby Shard. Another wild shard. That's rough beats. There's only 3 wild shards in this deck right now, I think. So we're going to go ahead and play Voice of the Ashwood out. This card is a This card is a 1/2 that every time it attacks, it has Rage 1, so it permanently gains a point of power that it keeps forever. And then every time this deals damage to my opponent, I gain 1 temporary resource for each damage that it deals. So if I hit a Ruby Shard here, we're going to be really well off. That's unfortunate. It's another double Ruby card. So hand is looking less than ideal. If we hit a Ruby Shard, we're going to be able to do some good stuff, though. So when this hits my opponent, I'm going to gain 2 resources. Unfortunately, I can't do anything with them because all of these cards require double Ruby. So this activates to deal 1 damage to each opposing champion. My opponent's charge power says that each non-combat damage his things would deal is increased by 1 until end of turn. Yeah, and you keep... It's not like Magic where your resource is emptied end of phase, so I keep this resource until the start of my next turn. Ruby Shard, please. Perfect. So I play this Ruby Shard out, and now this is a good example of how Hex's resource system works. Even though I have 2 Ruby and 2 Wild, I can play both of these double Ruby cards out of my hand because I have the threshold to play them and I meet the total resources to play them. I can go ahead and activate my champion ability here. And what my champion ability does is it gives the troop I target and every other troop in my hand, deck, and in play with a similar trait +1 power permanently. So this gave all of my elf mages +1 power, and all of my troops are elves. So I need to go ahead and attack my opponent here. My opponent missed a shard drop last turn, so they're stumbling a little bit. So we get to attack him for 10, and then this does 4 damage to my opponent, which will give me 4 resources, because I get a resource for every damage it deals. So we'll go ahead and we'll play out Pyretic Performer. And this has plus power. When this comes into play, it creates a new card and puts it into my hand. So I have a Scorch, which is a 0-cost basic action that deals 1 damage to something. The thing that's different about the modifiers in this versus counters, like you're talking about, Zombub, is that the modifiers in this game get tracked through your hand, and they can go to your graveyard, and they can get shuffled into your deck, etc. So we're at the sideboarding here, or reserving, or whatever you want to call it. I don't think there's a lot I want to change in our deck. My reserves are mostly set up to deal with... decks that can do, like, this card stops my opponent from gaining life. I don't think my opponent's deck has things that gain life. I have a couple of things that deal with troops that have flying, and I don't think my opponent's deck has flight troops. Obviously, they just didn't do a whole lot. They stumbled, and our aggressive deck was able to do what aggressive decks do, and that's punish people who miss shard drops. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and hit submit here and not board at all. Can we put this here? Dad doesn't want it right by the microphone. You know, I sit here much. You like Dad's ring? Opponent chose to play. Opponent chose to keep. Can you explain the prizes and tournaments in Hex EV? Yeah, so there's a paid currency and a free currency that you can grind, and the EV... again, just compared to Magic, like, the EV is better, but the EV on Magic Online is super low, so it doesn't really set the bar terribly well. The nice thing about Hex is that all of the value that you have is fluid. It's a trading card game, so it's not just locked to your account like it is in Hearthstone. This hand is 5 shards. We're on the draw, but I think we're just supposed to mulligan a 5-shard hand in our aggressive deck. This hand seems much better, so we're going to go ahead and keep. Yeah, going 3-3 in a Constructed Gauntlet turns a small profit. The deck that I'm playing with right now, I think... Actually, I can check how much it costs because it gets reported. So every deck that you play in any paid constructed event on Hex gets recorded, which is sweet. Unlike Magic Online where they hide information from us, we get everything. The deck that I am playing right now costs right around $50 or $40 or $50 to build. War Machinist. Okay. Yeah, gauntlets are similar to leagues. Gauntlets are structured in a way that's probably closer to Hearthstone arenas, I believe they are called. So in gauntlets, you play until you have 5 wins or 3 losses. So even if you take a loss early, you're not basically punished. So I'm going to go ahead and burn his guy here. There might be an argument to waiting to saving the burn for when he has a 2 toughness troop, because the Pyretic Performer creates a Scorch for us, which could kill his 1/1 off. But I think I don't hate just like go ahead and doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and play this Shard of Savagery, and this is different than the Acorn in that it only gives me one of my 2 thresholds, and it doesn't give me a resource to use this turn. So basically it comes into play tapped, kind of. Ah, I forgot to start recording. Meh. Opponent's deck must not be built terribly well. He's missing shard drops again here. Or he's just, you know, kept 2 sharders and getting a little bit unfortunate. That happens too. We had that happen. I believe they try to pair you with people. How much are entry fees and such? Gauntlets are the equivalent of 5 USD to enter. Yeah, opponent did also play a colorless shard, so that's not helping him cast his cards at all. Yeah, Modern has the competitive leagues in Magic Online, the decks I've played against in the Modern ones at least, I'm not sure I'm even going to continue playing in them. Like, I'll probably just play in the regular ones because in all honesty, they're more expensive, and they're just like, the EV is brutal. Like, you have to pay $12 to play in them, and if you 3-2, you only get your money back, so you have to 4-1 or better to turn a profit. Like, so this card's really sweet. When an elf deals damage to my opponent, I can play this for free from my hand if I have a wild shard, or wild threshold, which I do. So if this hits my opponent here, I get to play this for free, which I did. And my Periwinkle card says whenever I play a card that costs 5 or more, copy it. So I got to play my 3/3 Maw of the Hunt for free, and I got to copy it because I have a Periwinkle. I'm going to go ahead and use my champion power now. I didn't want to do this pre-combat. I know I missed a point of damage here, but if he had burn, I wanted him to burn before combat. Sting Shot Sniper's got a really cool mechanic called Empower. And what this does is if I activate the Empower ability on my Sting Shot Sniper, it doubles every number on this card. So it will become a 6 cost, 6/4, that when it attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to 2 random opposing champions or troops. Heatwave's pretty good here. So Heatwave does 2 damage to each troop, so he's going to kill these 2 on me. Yeah, $12 to play a competitive league. Yep, feels really bad. Yeah, Gauntlet is 1 pack per win, plus you get an extra pack if you get the 5 wins. Sting Shot Sniper is very good. It's been one of the better cards in this deck for sure. So this is one of the cards someone asked earlier. There are other ways you can gain charges. So this deals 3 damage to something, and I gain a charge. So I'm going to go ahead and Scorch his 1/1 here. Nope, you can't have the magic cards. I'm sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and attack. So I'll go ahead and attack for 6 here. I think I'm going to play the Sting Shot Sniper out. If I would have drawn a shard this turn, I think I would have waited to play this because we could have empowered it if we drew running shards, but I think I just want to pressure him here. We do have commons here somewhere. Oh, that's really good. I guess I could have played around that by not extending this out. So my opponent's champion ability makes all of his cards deal 1 extra damage this turn, non-combat, and so now this does 3 to everything. That's really unfortunate. So now we have nothing left. Yeah, I should have played around another Heat Wave with his champion ability. So this Feral Acorn only gives us life when we play it if we have an elf in our hand or in play. So I'm going to wait to play this out until we have an elf, since we don't really need the resources right now. So my opponent's card, what does this do? It deals 3 damage to me and he gains life. So it'll do 1 extra because of his champion power. Drafts function the same way in that I don't play them, correct. I pretty much only play Constructed out here as well. Alright, so now I have to choose. I think I'm just going to play this out. We don't get to do anything because I don't have an elf, but it lets me hard cast this Maw of the Hunt as a 5-drop. Really wish I would have played around that second Heat Wave with the Sting Shot Archer. What does this card do? If you would gain a charge, it deals 1 damage. Okay, so that's pretty good. Oh, that's really good. So every time he gains... So, like, someone asked about this. This card gives my opponent a charge when he plays it, and that gives him a charge. So, well, his deck's kind of going off here. So this card, whenever he gains a charge, he deals 1 damage to me, and this makes him deal plus 1 damage. So he gained a charge, and this dealt 2 damage to me. He gained a charge, this dealt 2 damage to me. He cast a Crackling Bolt, which did 3 to me, and then gained him a charge. That's kind of rough. So we're down to 7 already. I'm going to go ahead and Crackling Bolt his Arena Regulars because Burn is a quick action. I honestly think the champions having different health was a plus positive. It's a really neat balancing mechanic for the game. Thankfully, we won game 1, so even if we get run out of this, unless interest play, you may transturn target artifact into... Ooh, that's gross. So this turns his infusion device into a 3/3. Which can attack this turn, so it's already here. So we're going to 4 now, so getting kind of low. Did do a Crackling Bolt, because he can use his champion power to make it... Alright, well, let's Crackling Bolt this guy. Play my Visage here. I think we're just like on the race him out plan. Probably spending Burn on this when he attacks next turn. He's just jumping. Okay, that's good. That's why I held the Burn. I think I'm fine with him jumping there. It saves him, gains him 1 point of life basically. He's basically just like looking to peel a Crackling Bolt and kill us here. Extinction. Wow, okay. So he has a lot of sweepers in his deck. That's good to know. This matchup's probably pretty tough for us. We're pretty lucky he stumbled in the first game. And all of the elves I'm drawing now, because I activated my champion ability earlier, every elf in my deck, and all my troops are elves except for the Maws, have +1 power. Yeah, in the PvE aspect, there's an equipment that makes this do 3, right? Drawing an Empower card would be good here. Oh, that one's not bad either. I'm going to go ahead and attack for 2 here. And then whenever this attacks, we gain a resource. And then this card is sweet. For every damage we've dealt to our opponents this turn, it costs 1 less. So we get to play a 5-cost 6/3 with Crush. So opponent is dead to this Burn in our hand. He could have another Extinction or a Heat Wave here, though. Like, if he's holding cards and he's not killing us, either he's holding shards. He could very well be holding shards just because he has a bunch of charges here. Yeah, this elf deck feels really powerful. This is actually the worst I've ever done in a gauntlet with it, and I'm 2-2 right now. I have 5-1 2 gauntlets with it, so I'm going to be writing about it on Hex TCG for sure at some point. Burn you for the last point? Got him. So we're 3-2 in this gauntlet now, which means I have officially turned a small profit, because if we lose the next game, we're done with our gauntlet because of 3 losses, we're done, but 3-3 turns a profit. How large is the hex card pool currently? There are 4 sets in construction. I believe there's about 1,000 unique cards overall. There is an F2 equivalent. Yep. I don't know what it is offhand. So this hand doesn't have any early pressure, and it doesn't have any wild shards for these cards here. So I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this. This hand needs some resources, but we are on the draw, I believe. Yeah, we're on the draw, so... Oh, no, I am on the play. Whoops. I think this is still a keep. This elf deck, I believe, is about $45, Blasterman. Yeah, there's no bonus when you mulligan in this game, which does kind of suck. If we draw a shard here, we're actually in a pretty good spot. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So this card, this is basically a red accelerant, which is so sweet. We gain a resource every time it attacks. So we're going to have 3 resources on the second turn of the game here. A budget deck to start playing in Gauntlet. Depends on what your budget is. The deck my opponent's playing is actually a little bit less than $100. It's definitely tier 1. Now I have to decide, do I want to play the Pyretic Performer or the Sting Shot Sniper here? I think I want to play the Sting Shot Sniper because it represents the most damage overall. There is no Phoenix in this deck that I'm playing right now. Yeah, I tried Phoenix configurations. They didn't feel particularly good. So this card, whenever it attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to a random champion or troop. So if my opponent doesn't have any champions in play, this just does damage equal to its power twice, basically. Might just be the best deck. Maybe. It's very possible. Not being able to respond to Croc triggers after he chooses targets. You can respond to Croc triggers. You can respond to everything that has targets in this game. So I'm going to go ahead and play Pyretic Performer out here as a 3-1. We get a Scorch. Yeah, it really depends. Pauper can be expensive, like we said there. So my opponent's champion ability is if he's played an action this turn, he can spend his 3 charges to get a 1-1 with flying and speed. Not attacking there seems a little weird because I'm just going to Scorch it. So yeah, so I'm going to Scorch this so he can't block. And then I'm going to Crackling Bolt my opponent because this gives me a charge. And then once I gain my 4th charge, I can activate my champion power here, which gives all of my elves +1 power permanently. And then I'm going to go ahead and attack him for 6. And you see this card already costs 4 because I dealt 3 damage to my opponent this turn. So once I deal 6, this card's going to be free. Just like every aggressive deck stream, just like a 0 cost 6/3. You can't respond to triggers in Hex that don't have targets. So like Arena or Regular's trigger doesn't have a target, so you can't respond to it. Which does take some getting used to because in Magic you can respond to actual everything. So this is a Flickering Gobbler. It is a Rage, Flight, Speed. So every time this attacks, it gains 1 power permanently. And at the end of turn, this goes back to my opponent's hand. Similar, it kind of gives you an emblem because, like, this card has Empower, which means if I empower this while it has 4 power, it turns into an 8/2 as opposed to turning into a 6/2. So it's not strictly an emblem. It's slightly different. Yeah, a game log would be useful. I agree. That good old Flicker and Knob Gobbler. Yep. So this card I'm holding on to, this gives an attacking troop 2/2 and Crush is essentially Trample. So if he plays a blocker out at some point, we can finish it with this. So he goes to 5 here, which means he's technically dead on board, but he's got a ton of cards in his hand, so I'd be kind of surprised if he can't interact with these guys. Are these guys? That looks like a guy. Is this a guy? Elves are so hard to tell. Opponent concedes. Apparently, he did not have anything. So the deck that my opponent is playing is largely flying troops. So we bring in these Crimson Bolts that deal extra damage to things with flying. And Gale Force is just like a savage blowout card in this matchup. It deals 2 damage to every troop with flight. So definitely bringing those in. I like to board out the Dorks in this matchup because opponent has, burns and a lot of things that can kill those. And I like to cut the Periwinkles because individually they're not very powerful on their own, and they're susceptible to my opponent's removal. I'm also going to bring in an extra Crackling Bolt. Basically, I'm kind of turning into a more controlling deck like aggressive decks often do in post-board games. Suddenly a species stream here, yep. Yeah, occasionally something happens, Sato, where you're like, what happened? Did I miss something there? And you're like, oh, okay, there, it's in the log. I can go back and reference it. So this seems reasonable. We're like I said, we're often more controlling post board here. So we've got 3 removal spells in our opener. We can't play any troops particularly fast, but I think that's fine post reserves in this matchup. So ideally, we want to use these Feral Acorns to gain life in this matchup, but we will play them to gain thresholds if we don't draw other shards. But I always want to lead on my non-Acorn shards because if we have all the thresholds that we need, these can just gain us life when we play them. So my opponent played a card that this draws him a card and gains him a charge, which kicks him up to 3 charges, which lets him make a 1/1 flight speed. All right, so we drew a Ruby Shard. I'm actually going to play the Feral Acorn out here as a wild threshold because if my opponent plays a Flickering Knob Gobbler next turn, I want to cast Gale Force to deal damage to all of his flying troops. I think I'm just passing the turn here. I don't really want to spend a removal spell on this. I'm going to go ahead and play Feral Acorn out here to gain some life. And I'm not going to play this out. I need to play a Ruby Threshold to play this out. He likely has Burn or Crackling Bolt or some kind of removal spell to just kill this. And the fact that I already have Shards 4 and 5 in my hand mean I really want to just play this as an empowered troop, I think. Yeah, Gale Force is a quick action, so... So I think I'm just going to wait until I have 6 to play this Sting Shot Sniper. Opponent's just sitting on mono interaction, it looks like, so I think waiting to play this is definitely the right call. I think if he doesn't play a second troop with flying next turn, I'm just going to go ahead and Crimson Bolt his Bumblebot here just so it stops chipping away at us. It's trading a card for something that was just his champion ability, but I think that's worthwhile. I guess he might also, like... play an action and activate his champion power again here. Maybe I'm going to wait one more turn, actually. We're at 21. Yeah, I'm going to wait one more turn. See what we get going on. And perfect. So we're going to be able to empower this on 6, which is what we're looking to do here. And then he's likely going to have to spend 2 cards in order to deal with a card that has 4 toughness. Anaphylactic with the 4-month 3 sub. Thank you for the continued support, mate. I really appreciate it. Welcome back. Correct. Yeah, you choose whether or not you're getting a threshold or the life. But it always gives you a charge regardless. Heroic Outlaw. That's pretty good. So this card has sockets in it, so it's customizable. My opponent chose chosen to give the speed, so it can attack right away, and when it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to me equal to its power. So this is doing 4 to me right off the bat when it comes in, and then he's attacking for another 4. How do you like the budget Wintermoon deck? It depends on what you consider budget. The good Wintermoon deck I've been playing actually isn't that expensive. It's like right about $100 to build. I think that Wintermoon deck with Runear Hierophants and the Cheesmiths is very, very good. So I'm going to 2-for-1 his 4-4 and just get it off the board here. And then we're going to move back to my turn here and play a shard. Huh. That's interesting. So this card is sweet. Whenever you play a card that costs 5 or more, it copies itself. So I'm actually going to change my line here, and I'm going to play Visage, and I'm going to... Oh, that was a little sloppy. I'm going to attack him, and then when this deals damage to my opponent, we get to play Maw of the Hunt for free, since Visage and Elf, and Maw costs 5, so Visage gets copied. And now I'm going to go ahead and activate my champion power here and give all of my elves +1 power, which means when I empower this Sting Shot Sniper, it's going to turn into a 6-4. Transmortified, that's fine. You're going to wish you had that when I play this Sting Shot Sniper. You're going to wish you had that when I play this Sting Shot Sniper. Yep, play a Phoenix. Play a Phoenix. Play a Phoenix. So hopefully my opponent plays an additional Flying Troop here. Crimson Bolt, sure. God, I hope he plays out a bunch of Phoenixes. That would be sweet. This is awesome. So this card that my opponent played basically for free, for each action he's played in a turn, this gets -2 cost. So he played 3 actions, so he played both of those for 0 resources. Gale Force, however, is going to go... Get him. Get him. Get him. Pew, 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 pew. So how many actions does my opponent have in his crypt? So Phoenix is really powerful. In addition to making itself cheaper, he can exile 6 actions in his crypt and bring it back into play. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So he needs 2 more actions to bring his Phoenix back into play. Verdict would have been good there. That's true. So I'm going to play this out and gain 3 life because we have all of our thresholds that we need. I killed my own troop. Oh, no. So I'm going to go ahead and empower this so it turns into a 6-4 flyer and play this out. So that worked out far better than expected. The 1/1 does not have any ability. So this, you can see in the upper left-hand corner here, it has a Visage of the Masquerade. My opponent transformed my card into a different card. So this card, Transmografade, however you pronounce it, turns a troop into a different troop at random that costs 1 less. So it's kind of like a Pongify type effect. Thanks, Grovex. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making it. This is the Elf deck. So I'm not blocking this because we'd trade, and when this attacks, it's going to get to do 6 to him and 6 to his guy. It's possible I should have left this back in the event of another Heroic Outlaw, but So I'm not going to attack with this turn, I don't think. Or let's do the math, right? So this is going to hit him for 7 and put him to 12. And then it hits him for 7 again and puts him to 5. And then this would put him to 4, and this would put him to 1. So it's not worth attacking with this. So I would rather block in the event he has another Heroic Outlaw here. Yeah, this is actually... So this card, you see the weird swiggly border up here? This is a card that you can't normally play in your... You can't normally play in your deck. In your constructed deck, because it's a PvE only card. But my opponent transformed me into one at random. All right, and my gauntlet where I started 2-2 here is now a 4-2 gauntlet. So this next match that I play will be the last match in this gauntlet, regardless of if we win or if we lose, because at 5 wins you're done or 3 losses you're done. Let's go ahead and queue up another one here. The sniper is so good. That decent human being turning off the stream. So one of the things that's really sweet about Hex, in addition to the champions, is the champions can kind of give you information about how you make your mulliganing decisions. So like my opponent can look at my champion and say, oh, he's probably playing the elf deck or an aggressive tribal deck because he's playing Sir Giles. So he can mulligan a hand that wouldn't be good against an aggressive deck based on the champion that I'm playing. Also, you know, my opponent's champion is generally a mid-range or control champion, so I know I don't need to keep a hand that's good against other aggressive decks. This hand came together very well. So what my opponent has done here is tunneled a card, and this is a pretty interesting mechanic. So it's a combination of kind of suspend and morph. It costs my opponent 2 resources, and we don't get to know what this card is until it comes into play, and we don't know how long it's going to take to come into play because we don't know what it is. I'm going to go ahead and play out a Ruby Shard here. I'm going to go ahead and play Voice of the Ashwood here. And then I'm going to go ahead and attack with my Soloist. Well, there will not be any Spider Shenanigans today. I think this is actually going to be my last match. I have to get ready. I have to go to Chicago this afternoon for some family stuff. So today's stream was a little bit earlier than normal. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out, and I'm going to get a wild shard just in case we draw some wild cards. Awesome, Soul Sting. That's great to hear. Like I said, I think this game's a lot of fun, so I encourage everyone to give it a try if you like it, if you think it looks cool. So I actually have a lot of decisions here. And the first decision point I have to think about is that my opponent's playing a blood deck, which generally includes a 4-cost kill all of the creatures. So I might not want to extend too terribly much this next turn. This Crackling Bolt gives me a charge, so I kind of want to fire this off at my opponent's dome here and then activate my champion power. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just Crackling Bolt his dome. Put him to 17, and then my charges are going to kick up to 4 here. And then I'm going to target my worst troop, because if he kills my troop in response to the ability won't happen. And then I'm going to go ahead and attack with both of these. And this gives me a charge, or a resource just for attacking, so I go up to 2 resources. And then if this hits my opponent, I'm going to gain 3 additional resources here. The game's also come a long way since it was in beta. The Plat to USD rate is 1 platinum is 1 penny, so 100 platinum is $1. So I don't know if I want to play into a sweep here. I feel like I need to play out at least 1 more troop here. So I'm going to go ahead and play out this Sting Shot Sniper. It's possible I should play out the Pyretic Performer just because it gives me a Scorch either way, but this applies a lot of pressure to my opponent. So if he has Shard Sweeper, he's going to play Shard Sweeper here, I think. Because otherwise he's taking 4, and this represents 6, that's 10, 11, 12. It's actually lethal on board here. Ooh, he's got a Ruby Splash. Wow, and he's got Heat Wave in his deck. So he's got 2 colors in his deck and a Heat Wave. Okay. So I was right that we were playing around a sweeper. I just didn't know which one. Opponent's playing a bit of a brew, it looks like. So, this is actually kind of an interesting... Yeah, Empower is double cost, and it doubles every number, not just the stats. So, like, this card says it deals damage to 1 opposing troop. It deals damage to 2 opposing champions or troops. And this card gives me 1 Scorch, so when I double it, it gives me 2 Scorches. Yeah. Yes, Princess Jake. The thing you want to make sure is that you're looking at constructed decks. So, you want to make sure that you're looking at constructed decks when you filter. So some of the draft and sealed decks get posted on there for limited. So I'm not sure which one of these I want to play out. That's kind of tough. They both suck if he has a removal spell, but this is better if he has a non-flying troop. So I think I'm going to play the other Sting Shot out. And this way, next turn, if I draw a shard, I can go 2-drop plus 3-drop. I still don't get how you empower a card. So basically, anytime this card is in my hand and I have priority, I can zoom in on it and click the Empower button. And once I click that Empower button, this card permanently for the rest of the game has double every number on it. So basically, I don't want to empower it until I have the ability to play it out. There are definitely... Okay, and he has... This is the other sweeper I was talking about. And this card's enough pressure all on its own with him at 10 life that he spent his sweeper on it. So one of the things that you get to learn just by like playing enough of the game is that the longest tunneling card that exists in these Blood Ruby colors is 4. So this card's definitely coming into play for him next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and attack with my speed guy here, get him down to 7. And then again, all of these elves that are in my deck have +1 power. So this normal 1/1 for 1 is a 2/1 for 1. Gives our deck a little bit of longevity as we try to grind. So this card is a 3/3. When it comes off tunneling, it has speed, and it has rage 2, so every time it attacks, it gets +2 power permanently. Sure, Feldspar. The tunnelers that are commonly played max out at 4. No, your opponent does not know when you empower a card. It gives you an animation on your screen, but your opponent doesn't see that. So there's no lost information there. So he has a 3/3 here, but he is only at, 7 life, so he might not want to attack because we're at 21. That's pretty good for us. So my opponent's, he can pay 3 and discard this card from his hand to draw another card, and then gain a threshold of his choice. Hey, Dinoari, you're catching us towards the tail end here. I had to do... Oh, that sucks. So this is a 2/1 that when it comes into play, it makes us discard a card. I really want to keep my Pyretic Performer, though. It's unfortunate. You attacking here? Yeah, I don't think he can attack. Well, I guess we'll play out our shard. That's super unfortunate, because if this hadn't happened and we drew a shard this turn, I could have attacked with Soloist to get my 6th resource, and then empowered this. So I don't think I want to trade my board for his board here. At this point, I could draw like a Maw of the Hunt, and when I play a 5-drop, this would double into 2 Visages. So I think I wanna wait and just wait to draw here. He can't really attack us profitably. I'm not blocking here. I'm assuming he's playing another guy on defense here, but I'm going to take at least one more hit from this, I think, before I block. So this card gets big and kills us pretty quickly because it's a 5/3 now. What was the socketed creature? Yeah, so there's certain cards that have sockets in them, and during deck building and while you're reserving between games, you can choose customizations for those cards. And look at that. Exactly what I talked about happened. We drew a Maw of the Hunt here, which doubled my Visage. I get to attack with all of these. And you see the newly created Visage doesn't have the bonus from this because it wasn't in my deck or my hand when I activated it. So he goes down to 3 here. Attempt the Parada stage. Yep. My wife's told me about that one. I haven't done too much of the PvE, but it's supposed to be obnoxious, right? You like have to build a special deck just to beat that, I'm told. So opponent's at 3. He's dead on board here. If he has a Extinction, that would be bad for us. If he attacks with this, I'm not blocking because he could just have Heat Wave. If he attacks with this and then Extinctions us, that feels bad, but I think not blocking is correct. Yeah, he has not played a Vampire King yet. A Life Drain Troop would be pretty brutal for us. So he has another Giant Corpse Flyer, so he's not dead on board here. Another Maw of the Hunt would be good. Get to copy this again. Shard. I don't think I'm supposed to, so I could like attack with all of these. Well, actually, am I supposed to? If I attack with everything, he could go... He can't just eat my guys because this kills him? He could go like Eat My Visage, Chump here, go to 1, but then I still have a Maw and a Soloist. He could go trade here, take 2, and then I still have a guy and he's at 1. So yeah, I think I actually do like attacking with everything here. If he has like a removal spell in his hand, it's not great for us, but I don't think we're beating a removal spell at this point anyways. We're getting kind of close. And this way, putting him to 1 means all of the burns that are in our deck are live top decks to just kill him. Yep, so he's taking the trades here and going to 1. I'm going to go ahead and just play this out, because if we draw another shard next turn, we can activate our champion ability. What the heck? So this is a good example. Wow, that's savage. So this card gets 1/1 every time a troop dies, and this is in his hand. And then this has speed, and when it comes into play, it deals damage to me. So this does 10, and then it attacks. Woof. We are super dead. Alrighty. What a savage. That was ugh. Alright, so I'm gonna board in Crackling Bolt here. I'm going to trim one of the troops. I don't love having a ton of these little guys against sweepers, but I really don't have a lot of other things on my board for this sort of matchup. Maybe it could be possible that this deck needs a better sideboard for these mid-range matchups, but I think the mid-range and control decks are already like slightly decent matchups for us, so I didn't want to put a ton in the reserves. It's possible I should board an Emberspire Witch just because it says champions can't gain life, and he's likely boarding in cards that can gain life, but I think on the play I'd rather have some soloists instead. Yeah, definitely a sweet finisher. Like, even if it doesn't get any bonuses from troops dying, like, it's still just like a deal you 6, attack you for 6, like 12 you out of nowhere. How does this deck deal with Hierophant? You deal with Hierophant in one of 2 ways. Either you race them, or Sting Shot Sniper can kill Hierophant with its triggered ability. Because this deals damage to a random troop, you're not targeting, so it can kill the Hierophant randomly. Oh, it's a base 4/4. Okay, that's still reasonable. Like, randomly 8U is fine. I'm not sure, Zumbub, and, like, there hasn't been a rotation, so any cards you get are going to be legal in the current constructed format. I think this hand's keepable. Not stellar. Oh, also worth noting is our opponent mulliganed to 5 that game, and kind of, we had a close game, so if they've kept 7 this game, they might just crush us. Sure, the just race them is the more reasonable answer a lot of the time. Another shard is not where we want to be in life. So this deck only needs double Ruby Threshold and single Wild Threshold, so both of these Feral Acorns are just going to gain us some life, which is nice. The fact that he has Heatwave and Extinction is really scary. I think this matchup's pretty bad for us. Exarch of the Egg. This card's just a giant brick wall. It's a 1/3 with lethal, which means whenever it deals any amount of damage, the troop dies. So this can no longer attack into this until we give it plus power with our champion. Let's gain some life here from that. Play Sting Shot here, and then he's probably just going to like Heatwave us next turn and make us cry. Yeah, with the format being as aggressive as it is with all the McBombus decks, I definitely like having all these Feral Acorns in my deck. So this is a 2/2 Flight Life Drain that whenever it deals damage to your opponent, you reveal a card at random from your hand, and then if the revealed card from your opponent's hand is an action, this takes that action and transforms into something else. So I think we're going to run the 1-in-3 gamble here and attack with the Sting Shot Sniper. And when this attacks, it deals damage to either him or one of his troops chosen at random equal to its power. So if this attacks, there's a chance it just kills the Vampire Princess, and then he might block with it too. So I'm just going to run. I'm just going to attack with both of these. And we got the Vampire Princess off the table, which is sweet. He's probably blocking here, which is fine. So then this dealt 3 damage to my opponent, which means Emberleaf Invoker costs 3 less. So we're going to go ahead and play this 6/3 out for 4. I do like this version more than the Urgnok version, Master Machu. This deck's been testing really well for me. This is the worst I've done in a gauntlet with it, and I'm currently 4-2. So if I lose this match, this is the worst gauntlet I've had at 4-3, and I 5-1 to the 2 before this. He could Extinction us here. Please don't Extinction me. If you don't Extinction me, we're in a really good spot. Vampire King's a little annoying, I guess. Alright, well, I think we're going to run the gamble again here. So we're a coin flip to hit the Vampire King for 3 damage. And if we hit it for 3 damage, we get to burn it to finish it here, which is really good for us. Alright, well, we lost the coin flip, which is unfortunate. That being said, we are going to get to burn this to finish it off if he blocks with us. He might not even block here because he can try and eat things out of my hand. So if he blocks here, we'll cast Burn to finish this off. He still does gain some life, but I think that's the best exchange we're going to get here. We're not going to be able to beat an Extinction this game. We can beat a Heat Wave because this has... Really? He's blocking there. Interesting. Because this has Crush, so it's going to Crush over for 2. So he's going to take 2 here altogether, basically. Well, I think I'm playing Emberleaf Invoker. Now the real question is, do I play this other Sting Shot Sniper out or not? If I play this out, he's basically dead unless he Heat Waves us or Extinctions us next turn. He's dead anyways, though, right? Yeah, I think I'm just supposed to pass. I think we have more than enough pressure on the board. People that are talking about the GP this past weekend, you should give this article a read and a and a share. Yeah, I think we hold Sniper. I agree. So now if he cycled the Prism, so if he has another shard that makes a temporary resource, he can cast Heat Wave here and kill this Sniper. So he does not, so we got it. Sweet. Okay, so on the draw here, especially now that we know he has vampires, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Ember Spire Witches. And I think because we know he has vampires, I'm going to bring in these Crimson Bolts. They deal 6 damage to troops with flying. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the 3 of those in. I like Crushing Blow. Burn doesn't really kill a lot of his things, right? So I think I'm going to cut those. I'd much rather have Crushing Blow because it makes my troop bigger and lets me attack into vampires profitably. I don't think I want a Gale Force. I think that's too much control. I think we're definitely the aggressive deck in this matchup, so I don't want to cut out too much of my aggro. Thanks, Dino. So this is going to be my last game of the day, folks. I appreciate everyone hanging out and watching. Welcome to all the new followers, and big thanks to my few resubs here. If you're a Magic player that hung out from that and you want to check out Hex and you're not quite sure where to get started, you can check out my How to Hex article. Pretty easy mulligan here. Just, need Ruby Shards. If we knew our top 2 cards were Ruby Shards, we'd keep this easy, but we can't know that, so we're going to be a little conservative in mulligan. This hand is not stellar, but I think it's a keep at 6, maybe. I don't know, it could just be loosey-goosey. I don't think we get too much better at 5. Oh, we can kill a Vampire Princess at least now, so that's good. Again, want to hold on to this Feral Acorn for as long as possible, because if we draw a Ruby Shard, this will gain us some life. Correct. Because I'm 4-2, this is the end of this gauntlet, regardless of the result of this match, because I'll either have 5 wins or 3 losses. Huh. Now, this is an interesting question. Do I want to Crackling Bolt his Exarchithique? I think I do. We get a little punished if he has Vampire Princess next turn, but this lets us use our resources efficiently this turn. This is a basic action, so I cannot cast it on his turn if he played a Vampire Princess. Yeah, the EV is better, and honestly, the gameplay is just really good. Like, I gave this a try because I was really frustrated with Magic Online, and then, like, the gameplay ended up being really fun. So, do I want to play Sting Shot or Periwinkle here? I think I want to play Sting Shot just because Periwinkle is going to get bricked off on the ground, and we have a chance to activate my champion ability this turn while he doesn't have Kill or Rockcast or anything like that up, so we get to get plus power to all of our elves, which is very valuable because now all of my troops are better. Did you see the Mana Crypt reprint? I did not. I have not been keeping up on all of those. How badly do I want to play around Extinction is the question. Think. No, he has Burns in his deck? That's so bad for us. That's so bad. Ugh. This matchup's gotta be. I can't believe we won a game. He has Heat Waves and Burns and Extinctions, just like crush our aggro deck. Oof. Oof. So we'll play the So this turn would have been really good if he didn't have the burn there. We would have played the Periwinkle, hit him with the Sting Shot Sniper, and then gotten double Maw like someone suggested in chat. But burn probably means we're just dead. I'd be pretty surprised if we win this game. I guess he could draw a bunch of bricks and we could run off all gas, but it's not looking good for our hero. Another Exarch of the Egg. Gross. Well, we're going to hard cast this Maw of the Hunt, which still doubles with Periwinkle, thankfully. Yep, that's exact. I mean, and the gauntlets are kind of aggressive right now. Heatwave and Extinction aren't very good against the McBombus deck, though, which is one of the more popular aggressive decks right now. Yeah, definitely. And, like, playing a two-color deck like the Ruby Blood isn't super popular because they don't have two dual shards right now. So playing a two-color deck with only one dual shard is a little bit difficult. Just know the differences in that article and then, enjoy. I played the PvE for a while before I did anything else just to get a real feel for things. Yeah, I think I'm going to ship with the Maws here. I'm assuming he's just going to trade these off, but that's fine. If he doesn't block either of these, we get to play the Emberleaf and double it with Periwinkle. But he could just, yeah, these are just 1/3 lethals. Those are all going to trade. That's fine. I don't think I want to play the Sting Shot Sniper out. Because if we get to empower it, it'll double with Periwinkle, and then, like, he's on Extinction or Bust, basically. I could see playing Quash Ridge Tusker in this deck. It's not completely unreasonable. That's kind of unfortunate. I guess we really don't care about this Crushing Blow. We're actually getting to an okay spot here. If we draw a shard, we get to empower this, and that should be pretty good. Okay, so what just happened for people that aren't familiar with Hex, these Exarch of the Eggs put eggs into my deck, and we just drew an egg, and when we draw an egg, my opponent gets a 1/1 unblockable troop. Yep. Last game. So assuming he's attacking us for at least one, these are also unblockable. Shard. Maw of the Hunt. Okay. Let's play that out. Double it up with Periwinkle. So, again, we fought back. Periwinkle's very good. I might want a third one. I might want a third Periwinkle in my reserves for these matchups where we need to grind a little bit. I'm assuming this is an Extinction incoming. That's what this deck is. Or a Heat Wave. One of the two. Yeah. Just Extinction. Shard that makes temporary charge. All right, Voice of the Ashwood. This makes resources for us when it hits. Where can you get my deck? You can find here. Actually, it's here on Hex Meta. For Magic players that are interested in getting into Hex, if you do decide to buy cards for cash, there's a hexprimal.com is a site that sells cards. They're kind of like the MTGO traders or card hoarder of this game, and you can get 5% off any of your orders there with the code Jeff5. Nero Genius with the 3-month resub. Thank you for the continued support, mate. I really appreciate it. 50 out of 150 towards our next long stream. We are totally in this, yep. And actually, Visage is a great draw here. So we have to go ahead and attack him for 3, which unfortunately is 1 too few resources. This is going to go down to a 4-drop here. This is going to be our last game of the day. I started a little bit early today because I unfortunately have a family commitment this afternoon and tomorrow morning. So today's stream is going to be was a little bit early, and tomorrow's stream is going to be a little bit later than normal. It's funny. I keep wishing to draw a shard, but then like it doesn't really. So now I think we just play the pipe. It's so close. Do I want to play this out, or do I want to wait to draw a shard? Because if we draw a shard, we could empower this, and that just seems way better. Yeah, I'm just going to pass. Is that burn number 4? 1, 2, 3. It is burn number 4. Yeah, I'm going to wait here. And waiting is only bad if he plays Giant Corpse Fly, because then we have to discard. Shard. All right, well, now that I have a bunch of these guys waiting, I'm going to go ahead and play Pyretic Performer out. We're pretty likely to draw a shard at some point. So I feel like now that I have like 3 of them waiting in my hand to be played, I'm going to play it out. But otherwise, I'd like waiting there. So once we hit the 3rd one in our hand, I think it was worth playing, especially with the possibility. This card destroys a random artifact or troop, and since there's only 1 troop, that's the one that dies. Vampire King, okay. Vampire King's actually terrifying. We really need to draw one of our bolts here. Visage is not stellar. So this, every time it hits us, reveals a random card from our hand, and if it's a troop, he takes it. So I'm going to play Visage, and I'm going to play Performer here, and it puts Scorches in our hand, so we only has a 50% chance of taking a card from our hand here, but that's still a really high chance. This was easily his scariest card that he could play there. Hopefully this is enough power to keep him from attacking, but he could just attack us, take one of our troops, and then wreck us here. So if he please win the coin flip, please win the coin flip, please win the coin flip, please win the coin flip. And we lost the coin flip. Oh god, that's such a beating. Am I supposed to risk another coin flip here? Okay, attack with both of these to start. See what he does. He's probably blocking this here. He's probably blocking one of these, I assume. If he doesn't block, that's amazing for us. Wow, that's great for us, because now this is free and we get to play this. Yep. So play this out. Play this out. And it copies Visage. Do I want to hold this Scorch? I feel like I want to hold this Scorch. Alright, well, we lost the coin flip on that, and we're still in this game somehow. If he has if he has Heat Wave, we're not going to be good. If he just sweeps the board here, we're going to be sad, but I had to play out my guys, otherwise the Vampire King was going to take them away. If he has a sweeper here, I think you cash it in. I think that's why he's attacking here, I'd assume. This is at the very least a Heat Wave, possibly an Extinction. Tight game. The fact that we missed our 6 shard drop for so long, which, I mean, we don't have a ton of shards in our deck. Like, we're only playing 21 shards in my aggressive deck. Yeah, I just can, like, never beat that Heat Wave. Unfortunate. And then a Spider, then double Spiderling Eggs. Ember Spire Witch is actually a very good draw. It turns off the life drain on the Vampire King. I'm going to go ahead and Scorch one of these so they can't kill us. Now it's a 3-turn clock for him instead of a 2-turn clock. God, this game was really close. This deck that I'm playing feels very powerful. Like, our opponent's deck is playing a lot of cards that are very good against us, and this game's been super close. I am planning to stream more Standard tomorrow. We're going to most of my Magic for the next week and a half is going to be Standard, because my next Open is Standard. Ugh. Something with speed. Something with speed. That was This is literally the only card in our deck we can't play is the second Emberleaf Invoker on 5 resources. Even Maul was fine there. That's so rough. We went 1-6 with Nai. It was really bad. Feels bad. That's fine. If he draws some more shards, we could be in this game still. It's just funny because, like, we hit a Spiderling Egg and then drew the only card in the deck we still couldn't cast. That was just... Any ideas what we're going to be testing for Standard? Just a lot of different things. Probably Black-White Control is towards the list. Towards the top of the list. And now, like, we drew some shards a little bit too late. Fenteo, so we're dead on board. You just attack us for 2. Alright, well, Empower. It's a pretty good draw. We get to play this out and it gives us 2 Scorches. We get to Scorch his unblockable Spider. And then next turn we have Crushing Blow. So if he doesn't have a removal spell, he's actually kind of in trouble. The battle thing is, this is like the different channels in here, basically. Please have a bunch of bricks. Please build a house with all your bricks. Please build a house with all your bricks. Please build a house with all your bricks. No! Alright, so Shard that makes a temporary charge. Actually, Acorn here would be nuts. Acorn would let us gain 3 life and play this. Oh, these two together kill Fenteo. We still have a game, as the kids say. I could have gone Crackling Bolt plus Scorch him, and then we could have played this, but I think I like just killing the Fenteo. I'm not sure. That might be wrong. That might be wrong. Oh, I could have played it because of the Scorch, yeah. I think I want to kill the Fenteo, though. So this is technically lethal with our Crushing Blow if he's just got a bunch of bricks. Actually, I guess I'm going to activate this now, because if he's got a kill, he's going to kill it anyways. And this makes all of our other guys scarier. Oh no, he had a kill! Maybe the fact that he has to have the kill is a reason not to do that, but I guess we don't get blown out with the Crushing Blow now. Need a removal spell for this. We have a lot of them. We are just dead. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I've got to take off, folks. I'll be back late tomorrow afternoon. We're going to play Standard and possibly some more Hex after that. So thanks for hanging out. This is my worst gauntlet with this deck so far, but still a 4-3. Not terrible. So that puts me to a total of 14-5 with the deck across 3 gauntlets. Feels a lot of fun and really powerful. And it's cheap, too. The deck's like $50 if you wanted to find something sweet and aggressive to buy into Hex with. You can find my lists on Hex Meta. I'm taking off. Peace, folks.